happening, everybody? Arthur here with the Froggy Geezer for episode 51.
1,000.
There you go. See, he got pick up for Josh. And again, just to let you guys know, Josh is taking the football season out for his family, for his son. So, no Josh this season. He might trickle in maybe here and there, but I told him focus on the family because that's way more important than action figures. But hopefully everybody is good. I see that Canuck and Trevor and the guy that lives in my chat, Cutthroat Comics, is in the house as well. And speaking in the house, you guys have sort of been requesting it, especially Cutthroat Comics. He is very, very much a fiend of this company. He's always talking about it. But I'm going to bring in the man behind the company. We got ourselves Mark from Gridiron Studios. How you doing today, sir?
Good. What's up, guys?
It's another Wednesday. I can't believe 51 episodes. I don't know. It's just like stuff is just. It's like it's crazy. I don't know. But and I see repping. You have the Gridiron Studios shirt. You need the Gridiron Studios hat with like a big skull on the top.
Oh, we got them coming, man. We got them
coming. And thank you for coming on the show. And let's see, you already got a hey Mark from the Canuck.
What's up?
And speaking of, Judd's already grabbing stuff. So
no, I'm rearranging things.
You're rearranging.
I gotta clean again.
So we do this with every guest, and sort of check out like what has everybody picked up for the week, or what figures have you been picking up lately? And I guess since you're the guest, Mark, what type of figures and stuff? What have you been picking up lately? What's been grabbing your eye?
Well, man, like I was saying, I'm old school, man. So like, and you can see from behind me, man. I like it all. I mean, I've been a toy guy my whole life, but man, lately it's been those Star Wars micro squadron stuff. I don't know why. Every time I go down that toy aisle, man, that's the thing it's just got me. So hasn't been any figures this week. It's been like, like these things.
Yeah, those are crazy detailed too. Like compared to when Micro Machines did their run with them, like
yeah. Oh, and the freaking like this whole.
I think Judd felt
just a great model. I mean, you just have a hard time finding that, that price point. It's cool. I'm in.
You're freezing up a little bit. Freezing. Oh, there you go. You're back. It's like it froze up a little bit, and then see Judd busting out. He has the Millennium Falcon one. Yeah, those things are crazy detailed, and your real estate isn't really taken up by the characters themselves, but the ships, which is pretty cool. That's
exactly right. Yeah.
And that's something you don't really see in collections too much, besides, obviously, Judd's got his die cast behind him and stuff like that. But like, you don't really have people showing off like vehicles and stuff like all on their shelves. It's always figures and stuff. But
yeah, it makes it nice, man, with those smaller items.
They need to bring some of that stuff back. I still have from when I was a kid. There was these cars. They were like, it was like a metal car. The doors open, stuff like that. But if you hit the front of the bumper, it would flip, and then this plastic flame would pop up. But it had a driver that would go in it and everything. It's like you'd think that they would start bringing some of that stuff back. Or
those are callbacks to I don't remember if it was Matchbox or Hot Wheels back when we were kids, and they had like. The door would flip and it'd be like a door damage. The car got hit. The front end would flip and it would have damage.
Oh, that's cool.
Those were awesome. I love that little wrinkled up piece of metal that you had to rotate with the spring. The crack of up cars.
That was like 80 something. I don't know. I was young.
They're fun.
Oh,
I was more into those versus the like the ones that changed color because like the paint always felt weird. It had like a weird film to them. Now, Judd, what have you picked up besides you showing off your Millennium Falcon?
All right, I'm starting off old school. We'll see if anybody in the chat remembers these.
Oh, totally. Mego, man, Mego.
See, I like it. I like those boxes.
Better. I had all three of these when I was little.
So then when you got it real time, like, or this time around with them being remakes, how are they?
I don't know. I'm not opening them.
They look good in the box, man.
mean,
They look good in the box.
Because I'm weird. Yeah, they look good.
I'm just saying, like, look wise, you don't have to handle them, but like, do they look like what they were when they were a kid?
Oh yeah, 100%. They look exactly like the figures I had as a kid. I was trying to get my mom to send me a picture. I was going to add it in our usual slides of me playing with them. But yeah, I mean, looking at them, they look to me they look just like they did when I was a kid.
Yeah, I've been fighting that whole thing off, man. Trying not to go that way. Every time I see one, I'm like, oh gosh, man, I really love those.
Oh, the Phantom of the Opera, Casey.
And I got Casey. So that ends my pile of loot from Big Bad. And then today I went to a different Target than I normally go. It's a little further away from my house. And I found Manny Faces. And I found Ram Man.
I'd put the helmeted head, like the one that covers his face, on the body. He looks so frumpy in his little Ram Man outfit.
Yeah, but that, I don't know, calls back the old figure.
That's what the figure looked like.
Yeah, legit.
He's just uncomfortable. Like, why'd they put me in this suit?
And he had springs in his legs, and his action feature was he rammed just like on the cheesy cartoon.
But those cheesy cartoons inspired and got us into some awesome collectibles and figures, man.
No, that cartoon was horrible. Anybody who says they can still watch it and enjoy it as an adult has something wrong upstairs. They're horrible. They are legitimately commercials for the figures.
Dude, I love the song, man.
Oh, the song's great.
I just love the song.
The song's great. The content is horrible. I've tried several times over the years to rewatch it. I can't do it. It's way too bad.
That's like me and trying to watch. I tried to rewatch Toxic Crusaders, and it was just so bad because like the little henchman, fat little guy always says he predicts the whole episode, so he tells you what's going to happen, and then you get to end, you're like, it exactly happened like the guy predicted, and I'm like, it's so bad. But as a kid, we didn't know. We're just like, stimulated minds.
And I wasn't really huge into because by the time He-Man came out, I was older. So, and it was not geared towards me to watch after school, but it was in a lineup that I watched. I've always liked cartoons, so I just watched because it was on. Like G.I. Joe still stands up.
G.I. Joe
watch the old G.I. Joe cartoon, and
it can be rough at times.
I mean, other than the end of the show where knowing is half the battle. Don't talk to strangers. Knowing is half the battle.
It's true.
And then speaking of G.I. Joe, I did get some lovely ladies in the mail today. Got my Valkyries. And after having them in hand, I'm like, man, I should have got a second set. And I almost got one. And then I hesitated. And now they're sold out. But I'm like, I got to have that self-control. Because army building with these prices nowadays, it gets expensive. Right. So I was like, 2 ladies to add to the rankings is good. And then I've been having a lot of fun with, I entered a contest in one of the Facebook groups, part of a bunch of Facebook groups. One was sort of like a branch off, sort of like you had the Mythic, or you had the Cabal group for Mythic Legions, you have the Cosmic Cabal, then they did like a Biblical Adventures, and I won the chance to purchase these at retail. The demons that they make, and they made like a translucent green and red for the PowerCon convention, and they articulate really well, and they're really fun figures, and just having a blast with them.
Be great for Christmas. Be perfect.
Yeah, they are Christmas colors for sure.
Hanging out in the tree.
I was more looking at the green one to go with like the Demestros PowerCon figure, because I saw somebody had 2 of the green demons with them, and I'm like, that's really cool.
Totally. Yeah, a little henchman. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I got a red one that I was like, I collect the other Aether, which is a bunch of demons anyway, so let's just add a demon to the mix.
Yeah, man, I love all that stuff, man. I'm a big Mythic guy.
Showing off his cape. He made sure his cape and accessories were with his figure.
That's right.
Oh, and So the Canuck did say yes. We are so close to 4K. I think we're like 8 subscribers away. So go get your grandmothers, your cousins, uncles, cousins, everybody. Just have everybody just subscribe.
Hey,
Got
sub the unboxing art.
Canuck said you got 2 Kongs from NECA. Slow week. Is Frog okay? Oh yeah, he was just stumbling over his stuff. Trevor didn't get anything this week, and Canuck says, Judd, do you remember crash 'em up cars that you would pull back the zip tie to make them run?
Oh, the zip cars, yeah. But see, the zip cars that I had threw sparks. Did you have any of those, Canuck? Like the inside, like where the windshield was and stuff would spark.
He said he never got into He-Man as a kid, thank God. But he said, I got into anime when I was about 8, watching it on CBC French station, the Starship Yamamoto. Trevor, I was way into He-Man as a kid, but I left He-Man in the past. And then Canuck said, hell yeah to the zip cars. But all right, Mark, so let's sort of get a little slide going up, showing off the gridiron. So let's start here too. So you showed us some recent pickups, but as a kid, what was a toy that you had, or some toys that you had that you collected, or just I'd say at that time we weren't collecting, we were just buying toys. What were some toys that you bought, but then everybody as a kid had that one toy that was like superior to all the other toys? What was that for you?
In general, like for me, it's funny, man, because it all like toys to me started with like the adventure people, right? Action figures to me was adventure people. So and Froggy probably get this, man. I mean, there was a weird shift in there where all of a sudden we had these figures that were kind of seemed like, I don't want to say like primary, like they were very simple, but the vehicles, man, I mean, they were incredible. And they like the reporter van and the adventure set where they had the canoe on top and a tent, and they had just all this gear. And I remember, man, to this day, I've always been an accessory guy. So it almost feels like there was some kind of, there was definitely like the foreshadowing of what was going to happen to me at some point, because accessories to me were always vital. And it started with that. And I think once Star Wars kind of settled in, that there was gear and I could make stuff for it, and there was accessories. But man, if you're talking about one line that really stuck with me, was Buck Rogers. That's a big one. Those Mego Buck Rogers figures.
Okay. Yeah, I think I know what you talk about. Like with the there was race car, like indie race car drivers with those action figures. Talk about their 5-point articulated.
Yeah, I still have a boat from the Forest Ranger set. Yep, there's one.
Actually, let's go full screen for you. Let's go solo.
Dude, I mean, this is toys to me. This is what it was about. I mean, we make some seriously intense weaponry and designs, but man, when it comes down to toys and what that meant to me, was it didn't get any better than this kind of stuff, man. It was just, that was the basis, man, for all of it.
Yeah, they did some. I think I played with those because there might have been my older brothers. He did have a Ranger. I remember IndyCar drivers. They had like the race car helmet type of stuff, and then they.
Totally.
I think they had some space ones too. The guy had like a blue head with a dome that was already attached, and he's in black.
Yeah, that was kind of at the end, I think, right at the end of that.
That was right at the end of the run, yeah. But when we were kids, it was like there was a Forest Ranger set, there was a pilot set that came with a bi-wing plane, and
the scuba set, right, with the octopus and the submarine. Yeah, that was. I mean, where the scuba set went over the head and had the tanks on the back and the face mask. I remember as a kid, my imagination was just going nuts.
Yeah, that stuff is. I remember playing with my blocks and stuff like that, and I was like, my brother had them, and I was just like, all right, I'm taking them. But like toys back then were way more. I guess I want to say almost like innovative. Like I remember like those. Do you remember the big Tonka like construction like dump trucks and stuff? They were all metal.
I had a big metal one that I would put my knee in the dump and like ride it down.
Ride it down the street. Yep.
We had those, and then you had like the backhoe that actually was so strong, like the metal they used, you can actually dig into the ground like a real backhoe with it. Like,
oh yeah,
I was quite.
I had that big handle. Had that big like handle on
big,
top. Yeah.
Yep. And you did nowadays, if you got something like that, the handle would snap off.
Oh
well,
yeah.
Well, they brought Tonka back, but they made them out of plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that with Tonka. Action Fig says, I still have several of my Venture People vehicles and figures. Nice.
Right on. Yeah.
Yeah. I've got the boat and the park ranger with the beige hat somewhere.
And Cutthroat
right
says, Gridiron rules. Love your stuff.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
And we got a super chat for the day. We got Toy Father. Thank you. He says, oh man, let's go. Love you, Art. Love you too, man. Love you too. He's a good photographer. Like him and his crew just do some amazing work when it comes to action figure photography.
Nice.
But then so that's awesome. Like I can relate to a lot of that stuff, and just like when you're talking about it, I'm like, I had that stuff, and that's great.
Yeah.
We already sort of asked that one. And so I guess what got you into making accessories? Was it just you having those adventure toys and loving the accessories and stuff that you could do with it? Like what made you start making?
Well, so a lot of people know, I mean, I go pretty far back like in this industry, but as a different name. I had a company called Builderama that we did 118 scale accessories and like sandbags and drums and really heavy military. And we had just really kind of dominated like that little diorama niche in 118. And this is going back to 1999. And I did that for almost 20 years. We were just cranking out 500 different products, different structures. We started doing 1/32 for like toy soldiers. And we found there was this whole other world of kind of the museum quality figures where, the older guys that had been around that were in that kind of 60s, 50s, 60s demographic 20 years ago, they were collecting their old Marx figures and their Britons and all these metal toy soldiers, but they had no way to display. So we were starting to do that stuff. And then, so we had done, my education's in industrial design, but I kind of broke away to do really like silicone tooling. And so it was it for 20 years. And then 20 years later, I have two boys that I, basically had to birth my own partners because it was interesting because, you go through so many different people and different personalities, and both my boys are very, they've been around this stuff their whole life. So to have like a fanboy, like it's never good to have a fanboy with you all the time because you're just getting yes and how cool everything is all the time. And I found that they weren't half as interested as I was. And they came from like a grounded place when we were talking about doing something that was grounded. And my oldest son, he was getting his master's degree in industrial design, and he was kind of at that fork in the road, like, he can make washing machines and cars, or he can make toys. And so, we kind of got together, and it was this really cool melting moment of like technology, old school concepts, nostalgia. I mean, it was this cool trifecta with my younger son. He was kind of a tech kid. So 3D printing, all those kind of that. So it was like this perfect, just unity, and we're a family business. We have been for the last 25 years. So it's now Gridiron for the last 2.5 years. We wanted to really embark on the 3D technology and create something new, create something fresh. G.I. Joe Classified had been coming out, and we saw there was a definite need in there in the very beginning, and it left us a little window, and we're grateful for it because it's gotten us into this great community, and man, we love what we do, and every day we're pushing to make cooler stuff and funner stuff, and it comes from a sincere place. So I don't know anything better than that, man.
Oh, that's good. That's good. And so let's dive into one item. This is the one that you've been teasing too. Is you've been teasing some photos to people, okay? And is this just a 3D render, or is this like a physical made item?
This is a rendering, but the 3D model is done. So we have, man, how do I not tell you anything but tell you something?
I mean, you're more than welcome to say whatever you want to say. So,
well, I just, I feel like there's so many people that are excited to. I mean, like I said, man, we have over the last 2 years have garnered some really, really cool, just friends, community. I mean, it's been so fun to watch, and when we tease a little thing like this, it's fun to see the excitement because it's what I feel, and so usually these things are just kind of coming straight out of my heart, And Quaid went to town on this design. We had talked about it, and then Colin, my other son too, we kind of looked at like how can we produce it, because that's probably our biggest challenge as a 3D printing factory, so to speak. I mean, we manufacture through 3D printing process. Is this had never really been done. The logistics of this and producing a product with this kind of manufacturing in mind hadn't really been done. I mean, there's guys that have done some excellent classified retro vehicles, a lot of them, and there's a lot of really good guys out there that are doing good work. I mean, Mark II Designs, right? He does a great job on his like retro vehicles, and there's just so many things that I look at and I'm like, man, we like to get a different spin on it. We don't do something strictly like a reproduction.
Okay.
And when we talked about this, we were like, can we, with the Vamp coming out and the there's other people doing stuff, whatever. This was a vehicle that we thought this is a perfect little spot that can work around everybody, work with everybody, and enhance the collectability instead of trying to compete against everybody. This is just adding some richness to that world, and in something that's kind of original, but yet we recognize the familiarity of it, right?
Yeah,
that's really our mission statement. I mean, we want to tap into the nostalgic part of things, but we want to also make it feel new and feel different.
Yeah, I mean, you put your ear to the ground and you see where people are landing with it. I mean, it seems like this is the era of 1/12 scale vehicles right now.
We're entering it for sure.
Everybody's getting into. You got the Ramen Racer and everything. Yeah. So G.I. Joe released their Dragonfly. They're doing the Vamp and everything, but they didn't do the Doom Buggy that everybody wanted.
And for me, I was like,
Doom Buggy's the Vamp, right?
The Vamp's more the Jeep, right?
Yeah.
So
the Ostriker. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Sorry. Brain farted there.
Definitely has some. This has some rooted Ostriker feel to it. The only difference you're going to see with this thing, and when the full reveal of this comes out, I hope everybody gets excited because, man, this thing is going to be loaded down like nothing you've ever seen. I mean, how it looks right now is the simplest form of the model with a couple guns on it. The actual idea behind this thing is that this is really that, DPV, that Desert Patrol. I mean, this thing is going to be loaded down. It will, I don't want to say too much. It's the plan is for it to have a really core loadout. Then you'll be able to get all kinds of customized accessories. So you won't be locked into this thing forever. This is as far as when we went to design it, the whole core of it was to be a modular weapons platform. So there'll be ports all over this thing. You'll be able to put guns anywhere. You'll be able to have backward gunners. You'll be able to have forward gunners. You'll be able to have side gunners. Like showing that 60 on that pintle mount coming out the door. Obviously, that's something that the Ostriker never had, was a door gunner.
Right.
So, but saying that, we'll have a camera that you'll be able to plug into the dashboard. So you'll have that feel. If you want to really have that retro feel, you'll be able to kind of get that, you know.
Now, and if I'm overstepping any boundaries when asking questions, because I'm very curious now, this is all going to be 3D printed. Are we doing any like, because I see the springs, I'm like, are they going to be metal springs? Are you thinking about doing like rubber tires, or it's just going to be all 3D printed?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Okay. Fine.
Gotta wait and see.
Just wait and see.
Now everybody's like, all right, I'm ready to go home. We saw what we wanted to see. We probed his brain. See you later, Mark. No. But no, I mean,
I can tell you the back of this, when I start to reveal the back, there was some really cool stuff with how, if you guys remember the original Lost Striker. So, you know how it had that kind of, there was the launcher on top that, kind of was camera, what in our minds was a camera driven device.
Yeah.
So you can kind of see the hint is in there. Do you see the camera on the Gatling gun or the minigun?
Yeah, right there.
Yeah. So there's that nostalgia is flowing through this whole thing, but it's going to be done in a way that's like that gun will also have grips on the back that you'll be able to have a guy that's shooting that thing handheld, going at it by hand.
Unlike the classified vamp that they advertise where you can't have somebody stand on the back. It's like,
yeah, so I don't know if this is too much info, but you'll be able to stand a figure on the back of this.
Nice.
So he has his own platform.
And we got Glenn Orcutt in here. I've purchased a few products from Gridiron, and I'm very pleased. I'm hoping they will do some web gear for Cobra Valkyries and Cobra Colors, since the tan doesn't work for me.
we definitely, I mean, just to answer that question a little bit, we are working in a lot more chest rigs and gears this year going into the fall. I mean, if you noticed our last, we just had this torpedo or like not so much torpedo, but like a frogman loadout. That vest chest thing that's just the beginning of a lot of this. We did the aliens chest thing, so.
And then we got action figs. Time for some LEDs for those off-road lights. But anyway, let's skip off of this so we don't leak in anymore or put any more pressure on you. But thanks. I do like the Gridiron logo and the seats and stuff like that.
Yeah. So. Well, we found that's funny because we'll get occasionally there'll be somebody like, oh man, your logo's everywhere. Early on, it was funny. We had this really cool, like there was this like this community thing where everybody was loving the idea that we were branding stuff. I mean, we were putting our stuff on the guns. Like that had never really been done before. And we had a few that were like, oh man, can you not put your logo on the gun or whatever? And as soon as we kind of backed away a little bit, we had this just surge of like, oh man, you got to put the skull on stuff. We love that feel of it. And ever since then, we never looked back. We brand everything. We're proud of it. We hope that the community's proud of it. I mean, we have so many fans of Gridiron that take it to heart, and man, we just don't ever want to let that go.
Well, you're also not making it overly ginormous and gaudy.
No, I mean, we try to keep it within the context of the vehicle. Like these are kind of racing seats,
right?
So the thought was to make them kind of like if you see racing seats, man, there's patches everywhere and junk everywhere.
Look at all those Twitch streamers and shit. They're sitting in chairs that have logos on their headrest anyway. So
exactly, man, exactly.
And then we got, you can build this amazing 1/12 scale diorama with some of the products featured in tonight's show.
That's a great freaking picture, man. I've never even seen that.
So we got
who did this?
I have somebody, I think. Where did we get?
I don't know. I put this together so long ago. I don't remember where I found that. I don't remember. I don't remember if somebody posted it. I think it might have come off of. I might have found it on Facebook.
Oh, that's awesome, man! You're gonna have to send that to me. I gotta search that guy out, man. That's a great shot.
Yeah, I'm not sure who did it, and I don't see anything on it that says like, so they didn't like tag themselves in on it anywhere. No, I can't remember. It was too long ago. I find pictures all kinds of places, so it's hard to keep track. That's
an excellent shot. Yeah.
But then you could do, you're releasing these bunker walls that are pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, like, I like the fact that you could do some prints and not have print lines. Like that's something that I'm like.
I see it. Yeah.
there's a lot of people that are out there that are printing stuff, and those lines bug the crap out of me. And what did I see last? Somebody made something. It was like some throne or something, and they wanted like $80, like $80 for it.
Yeah,
And it was like, I think it was like a Thanos throne or something. And I commented, I was like, wait, $80? Does that include the print lines?
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like
we just did a gun throne, and man, it was meticulous for us, man. We had to go through, we did this kind of it was kind of a little bit of a Game of Thrones kind of idea, the Iron Throne, Gridiron Throne.
Yeah. We showed that off actually.
Like
Yeah,
I think it's in the slides.
Yeah, it was something that sometimes you do your best. I mean, this is such a new technology that we're constantly working through. So it's like to make walls that snap together and that are modular and articulated, and there's a lot that goes into these designs, and it's not just a matter of throwing a thing on a printer and it prints perfect. There's still manipulation to the resin, to the heat. I mean, we're in Arizona, and it's hot as hell here, and it's hard with resin machines need to have a certain temperature. And so, I mean, we've got all kinds of things that we have to do to make that happen,
Yeah, these look great.
Oh, they're fun, man. They're very, so this was our first patentable product, we felt. So there's a patent pending on this right now. We're trying to get it's got this such cool little modular, simple system, but it works for a lot of different scales. It's just a cool little box,
And you can sort of make it your own.
You can. I mean,
Like,
we've
that's
had
the
a
great
lot
thing
of
about
stuff.
it. Like you can turn it into whatever. It doesn't necessarily have to be a surveillance module.
Exactly.
But you definitely give the accessories to make it work.
Yeah. And that was the key, right? Is to have accessories that were modular. We could sell them on their own. So somebody could kind of build, if they just wanted to buy walls, they could build whatever they want. These are kind of fun cargo containers. You get the whole thing kind of encapsulated. It comes to you like that little box. So it has that kind of G.I. Joe throwback from the comics, where they were, the headquarters was kind of sent in roadblocks trying to build the thing out there, right?
Yeah.
So it has that vibe to it.
It also gives off the vibe of like if you ever play like Call of Duty or anything like that, like the care
Totally.
packages that drop in, so you could have that thing loaded with weapons and whatever. It just drops right into your Joes and stuff.
That's right.
So,
cool thing. I mean, we're excited to see how the Dragonfly, if it can hold it.
Oh yeah,
it'd be awesome. Awesome diorama having that thing kind of
Ooh, that might be your next piece. Is do like a landing pad that somebody could use as like a roof piece. So if you have multiple pieces of these, you can like attach it to the roof.
Just so you know, this whole concept is, how do I put it? I haven't really released this too much. I'll give you guys a bone here. The whole concept here is you should be able to build a full headquarters when we're done. So a helipad is definitely in the works. I mean, we have everything. Everything is going to be modular. It'll all fit together. It'll all snap together. We're hoping to have a motor pool module. I mean, everything, even to the jail. We're planning on having a little detention area module. We have these kind of new, almost like cell walls. Some barred. They double as a ladder. Like you can kind of see it in there. There's a little. So these kind of cell walls with the bars sitting vertical, they stack on top of each other and make it basically a jail.
Yeah. Then you got the weapon cases and stuff that can stack underneath.
Yeah, a lot of storage for stuff. It's cool because it's half scale, so it's at 4 inches is the breaking point. And so the reason we did that is to be able to produce a tower that doesn't have to be 16 inches tall. All it has to be is 8 inches tall, and you could still put a figure up in there that can shoot over the top because he's 4 inches off the ground. And then he has kind of a storage bay. You can link a couple together. You can almost put bed down there, if you wanted a little, whatever. There's tons of different configurations to this. And then, weapons is our game. So we just went to town on a bunch of different modular weapon systems.
So this is Gridiron there, and then you got the skull right there.
Yep.
Now with you doing all these resins and stuff like that, like this is a hard resin, so is there droopage? Anybody have to worry about like the barrels drooping or anything like that, or like
No, the only
prime
time.
example, blast effect with those Valkyries. This thing is like licorice.
Yeah, totally. No, we have, there's an interesting little fine line in here. And with 3D printing, we spent a long time on R&D of a mixture of resin that is proprietary to us. So we found this perfect kind of, I don't want to say perfect, nothing's perfect, but there was this balance where we call it flex rigid, right? It's got a flex to it, but it's a very rigid weapon. You can see it sitting there, right? It's a rigid weapon.
Right.
But like with 3D models, the first thing we had to solve was if you have a 3D model and you drop it from your hand at waist height, it's going to snap. So how do we have a resin model that feels and emulates like an injection molded piece? And for even to this day, we still have people that don't realize, if they don't know who we are and what we're about, they'll think this stuff is injection molded. And sometimes it's good, but sometimes you'll get a guy that wants to break it. And, there's still a model, there's still resin, but there's factors to it that allow it to have some strength and durability and flexibility, but yet it holds its shape. So, and if it does warp on you, like I said, we're in the heat, you'll get something packaged. And if it comes a little bent, it's not a big deal. Put it in some hot water, using a hot blow dryer, it'll bounce right back. I mean, it's just like with, most of us all know these tricks because we're toy collectors, right?
Right.
I could say with these, at least they're not noodly. You don't have to worry about something just being a big noodle. It has its shape and it holds it.
Like the sniper rifle with the Arctic bats.
Yeah. So some of those. So, and I get with Hasbro, like they're trying harder, right? Lenny and those guys they're awesome and they're trying so hard to get these things out. And with injection molding, there's limitations. They have certain materials they can't use and certain ones they can. And
the big thing too is like with Judd and I in our last stream, we talked about like these figures, these GI Joes, these Star Wars, all this stuff is geared towards kids. So yes, my blast effect with my Valkyries are all rubbery and stuff like that, but that is because if a kid at the age that they recommend them to gets a hold of it, it's not choking them or like poking out their eyeballs and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's where I understand some of the floppiness and stuff like that. But it as an adult buying kids toys, and just like, oh, it's a bummer.
It is. I know, man. And that's why I think we had a clear path to we had a space in this market, because if we could be very conscious of the collector and try to translate these weapons into something that felt collectible. And we understand our price point has to be what it is. I mean, we manufacture everything in the United States. So you're going to be stuck with certain expenses, but we like to make it feel like we're not in competition with anyone, because what we do is different. It's premium, right? You're buying something that's a little more on a premium level. When you see that 60 on that pintle mounted articulation, gun belts, all those things are done here. So you have to expect a little different in your price point.
So then that's another question too, is like for anybody that's new to Gridiron that's watching, I linked all your stuff in the description. So people are going to be able to go to your website, YouTube, all that stuff. If they get a hold of, like, if they're looking at your site, there can be what I could classify. It could be sticker shock a little bit sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So what goes into like some of these, how do you come up with the price on something that you're designing and making? Like, where is that coming from? So they can be like, this is what you're getting. You're getting that product, which you are making. It's like art because you're doing it yourself.
That's the truth. Yeah. So, and to think, okay, so for us to be able to share this with everyone, we have to have a certain level of production, right? Or else we're making one of something or 5 of something. So for us to make thousands of something, there's a business model that has to be met. And so then it becomes very much business. It's cost, just like you would have any business. If you were opening a restaurant, how much is a napkin? How much is a straw? Those are costs, but yet everybody gives stuff away. And to us, We just had to look at design time. Are we going to give everything possible to a design? If we can do something fast, I can give you a design in 24 hours. But if I spend a week on it, you're getting something that's really changing the game in your collection that you can put up in your display, and it'll feel real. It'll feel like we're not happy unless the thing looks real at this scale. So, and we don't have, the cool part about it is we don't have anything limiting us from how much detail we put into something. We don't have to worry about, oh, that's going to cost too much, because that's not our business model. Our business model is, how do we get you the best possible version of this? Now, when we look at that, it's how much time did the design take? Resin is very expensive. People don't get this. It's UV curing resins. They're constantly evolving and they're very expensive. So it's not a, it's an ounce cost that you have to factor in. You got machine costs, you got wear on machines. When you run, we'll be running 75 to 100 machines. So this isn't, 2 machines in a garage. We're running a full manufacturing facility. So energy, all that stuff, the LCD screens, the frames, there's a whole working mechanism behind that manufacturer. Just like as if in China, they're doing steel tools, those tools and the tools that it takes to cut those tools and CNCs and all those things have maintenance that are factored in. So, but the difference we don't have is, we don't have a 7-year-old girl making $3 a day.
Right.
So that's the big difference. So when these other big companies send their stuff across seas and then they want to be competitive to us, we're not competing with them. We're never going to be able to be, how the best way I've said it to customers is, we're never going to be the cheapest ever. We will never work to be that company. We're going to work to be the best we can for you to make the best model. Now, if you don't have the funds to pay for that, or if that's not in your budget, more power to you. Like, we're not forcing you to do anything. So
well, you guys do PayPal on your website, right?
We do. Yeah.
I'm sure PayPal does the pay in for, so I can help people.
Yeah. And there's all those kind of things. I just want people to realize, like, when they buy from us, and I know a lot of our customers get this, is when you buy from us, we stand behind the product. If something goes bad, call us, send us a picture. We'll replace stuff. I mean, and I have no limitations to any of this. This isn't like 60 days, you better call. I got a guy, a year in that had an issue with a gun that, he had dropped off his shelf or whatever. I have no problem. Like, it's like, I want customers for life. That we're building a business. This is our family. This is how our family makes a living. So it's important for us to be solid on our customer service, solid on our product, making the best product we know, and then just try to keep the price within those realms. And I know some people think, oh man, it's so overpriced, but when you start adding it up, there's not a lot left. You have to sell a lot of stuff. So,
I mean, that goes towards like everything when it comes to like pricing and stuff like that. Like, a lot of people that like do art or tattoos and stuff, people will go to like some crappy place and they'll offer a tattoo for like $50, but then they'll bring this elaborate design to another place and they'll get charged. Like, this is what it's going to cost. Like, no, I can go down the street and do this. And it's like, but you're going to get a shitty tattoo. Like,
yeah, it's like you can go to a third world country for a doctor, but you're going to get a third world country medicine, right? So,
right. You might have a goat and some chickens next to you while you're getting
exactly.
your spleen removed or something else.
Exactly right.
But yeah, and then I like how you color code these. That'll go with like however setup you want to do. You want a crimson section of your base, you can have a crimson section of your base.
Totally. Yeah, we love this idea that, the cool part is we're using a lot of like cool plastics, like that. Our walls are Kydex, so there's actually a strength in the Kydex this isn't just through resin. This is basically a Kydex wall with a bracket around it. And that bracket makes it modular, but it really creates a really nice structure. It's lightweight for shipping, and it's cool. And I can get them in different colors that we can match up. So,
and for dummies like me, what the heck is Kydex?
Kydex is used in like holsters, like tactical gear in the real world. It's a thermal plastic, so it's it can be heated and formed. And then once it's formed, the amount of heat it takes to get it out of that form is a lot. So it doesn't just, you don't put it in the sun and it melts. It stays its shape. Like a cop will have a holster in Phoenix in direct sunlight and nothing ever happens. So it's just a really cool material.
Yeah, you guys have just been pumping out lots of stuff. And I've sort of been ignoring the chat a little bit. The chat's been sort of going. Let's see. Jump in here. Oh,
This
we
gun.
got Cutthroat. Oh yes, I want 3 from Gridiron Studios. Let's see. Yeah, Cutthroat says like the chair made of machine guns from Gridiron Studios. He got that.
Nice.
I guess they're asking if it's 3D printed or injected and molded. All this stuff is 3D printed.
That's right. Yeah, that throne was a big deal for us because it was kind of an homage of the last 2.5 years, all into one kind of artistic rendering, So it was a cool piece for us.
Cutthroat says, I love the surveillance towers and walls.
Yes.
He says he likes the pegs that come with module designs. Yeah. He's going crazy. And then Paul Hughes saying, man, you can make such a dope command center.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
And it all fits together. So you can just keep adding walls. You don't have to spend a lot of money to get to a look. You can just kind of keep adding a little bit at a time. We wanted to have something that guys could build over a year or two, or, all of a sudden have something special,
Trevor says the minigun setup is badass. It is definitely. I like the minigun setup. I love the metal like protector on the front.
Oh yeah, the shield.
Yeah. I need this. I need this and some of the boxes.
Yeah,
I want walls. Cool. This minigun. Yep. I need to get the cigars too because those cigars are too damn awesome. Like
crazy again, how those. I mean, really, it's funny. Those cigars when we came out with those, they went across the board. Like everybody. I mean, we were getting people from all different collections, all different figure types. I mean, it was a fun little set because it kind of hit a little vein in a bunch of people,
Yeah, I don't have any like decent cigars for any of my characters that need cigars, and then you guys made them where you have the nice box with the band still around them, and then you got the ones that are smoked so far down. You got the smoke effects. Like you guys, you went the extra mile.
Yeah, it made it fun. And of course, we had to put that logo on those cigars,
right? And I mean, I don't know if Arizona's
that's the fun part of the logo. I think everybody kind of gets it that it's kind of synonymous with what we're doing now, No,
I don't know if Arizona is a medicinal state or a legal state. I mean, are we going to be stepping it up into some other type of smoking paraphernalia that our figures can get?
Yes, there will be a lot of it. Yes.
That's awesome. Froggy Geezer, he's like doing this. Wait, what?
I saw him like pop up. Like
he popped up quick as hell.
A little bit of alert, man. There was no delay in that.
No,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Somebody needs to clip that.
Oh no, man.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. Like I've seen like people buy like there's like a TED figure out there so they can have a glass pipe and all that type of stuff. And it's like somebody just needs to make them where they're decent. And if they have a gridiron skull on it, so be it.
I mean, if there's a bong out there with a gridiron skull,
there you go. Yeah, and then you guys are doing the colors in these too.
Yeah. We've been doing some work too with it kind of came out at Joe Fest. I think we have a little bit of a collaboration with Fresh Monkey Fiction. They're doing that Monster Force line.
Yep.
And we're doing some of their weapons come out of this second series. And that 3-barrel GAU minigun, or in that case, a full auto, Gatling gun. That was that Sasquatch that he had.
Yeah, that's big ass.
So we did that whole get up, man, based on that 3-barrel and the belt going around his back, and it's a cool piece.
See, and that's sort of that's sort of a funny thing too. Is like you see some of these photos that people take when they're at these conventions and stuff, and it's like you don't realize who's all involved and who's what's what. I almost wish like there was bigger signs or stuff that pointed out, or at least
Yeah,
whoever's taking the photos did a little bit of
He did a pretty good job. Like, they put our gridiron like next to the figures that we were involved with, so it was cool, and it got a lot of press for us, and we're excited for their line. I mean, they're putting so much into that line, and we wouldn't be involved unless we didn't think it was at a whole different level. And the figures look absolutely amazing. So we're excited. And I love that old, I'm not like a strict horror guy, but I enjoy elements of horror. I enjoy retro horror. I'm a 70s horror guy, if that means anything. But I definitely love that they're taking that Universal monster feel to a military level. It's going to be crazy, man, the stuff they got planned. So.
All right. But yeah, this stuff is it's just looking great. And then of course everybody, Action Fix Chatsworth is going to be an awesome figure. I don't know what Trevor's talking about. I need some Redman and Jesse Ventura head with the big chaw in.
Totally,
oh, okay. You mean
Blaine? Yeah. In fact, I don't know, man. If you saw when I did the original minigun, because we have that actual Predator version of the old painless. And I did a gung ho pick, big old tobacco in it. Everybody's like, "What's wrong with his face?" It's got a big old tobacco in it,
Yeah, there's certain, I can imagine certain facial expressions or something like that to try to capture that type of.
Yeah, it was all about the
chin.
Hard. You have to pull out that chin and then have that big old knob in his cheek.
And what the heck? You do
These
little.
Cool.
Yeah, we do diorama mats. We have so our diorama mats are basically DTOF case dioramas. So when you get this at home, you can literally throw it in an IKEA case or basically any glass case that's about 15 by 12, I think, somewhere in there is that shelf. And just makes a really realistic, environment really fast without any work.
That's pretty awesome. I ain't gonna lie. And was it all like plastic? So it's like you're not worrying about anything like falling out. Yep. It's not like flock or anything.
It may shed a little bit on the edges, like some of these little plastic pieces, but it's
not like something flocked where it's gonna leave like a fucking like a cocaine line of residue behind. Like
it's not that kind of thing. Yeah. And you can kind of see too, we're able to really sculpt in some cool details in it. So like getting mud effects and things. So that we're just trying to make something that's flexible enough that it can get shipped to your house without coming in 1,000 pieces. And then you don't have to paint it. You don't have to cut it. You can do whatever you want to it once it's there, but they're seamless. They go together and they're seamless. So, if you want to put a bigger shelf together, like a 6-foot shelf, you can put a bunch of them together and tile them.
We got some Mythic Legions right here. Look at that.
I love them, man.
This is awesome. Who cares about miniguns and a Doom buggy? These are great. These little mats.
This is the Build-A-Rama side of me. So that's 20 years we did diorama mats. I knew I had to bring some of that into this,
So all right, and then since we got past the guns, Cutthroat did ask, will your other guns be like, will they be able to be utilized on other items out there?
Put a bunker.
Oh, here, I'll bring it back up.
Let me see. I don't know.
I guess it'd be yours is more tooled for your walls and stuff like that. Versus
we're a little more like self-contained within our own system. Some of those other systems don't exist to us. So,
and then we got $24.99 for that wall mounted setup is pretty fair. I'm sure there's people who complain that are also the same people who spend that on a head sculpt. That's true.
That's a good point.
Or people who complain that they bought like a $60 soft goods cape to make their $20 figure look better.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't think you can ever win in that. I think the customers that stand behind us, these guys are wanting something that they can appreciate. You know, that when they put it on a shelf, it's something special. I mean, you look at most of our loadouts, everybody thinks like, oh, $35 or $40 is expensive. But man, the amount of parts in there, it makes everything about $3 or $4 a piece. I mean, it's like there's a lot of complicated stuff. So we literally don't worry about it. We just make the best thing we can, and whatever that price ends up being is what it is. So
that works. Yeah, these mats though are beautiful.
Thank you, man. Yeah, they're a cool thing. Like we did that kind of bivouac set, that little throwback, and it just had to have a mat. I mean, you needed a clearing, to put that tent on and make that feel that whole environment.
The mud looks so good.
Yeah, it's cool because it's flexible. So when you get that in the mail, you can pull that mat down, throw the tent, start building it right on it, and you're done in 15 minutes. So,
hear that, Judd? We got one coming in the mail. No, but no, these are great. This is definitely it's definitely unique. It's definitely taking your figures to the next level for sure. Like I would never have thought of something like this, or be like, you think of it maybe in like your tabletop gaming, or when you're doing like I guess maybe some Dungeons and Dragons type of stuff, but like actual seeing this, like this is awesome.
Yeah, makes it just very convenient. And like I said, we were making diorama mats for like 20 years. So there comes with like a lot of experience, a lot of like we understand the process of production on these. So
now you think about doing any that maybe are like have blood splatter, maybe have red blood for humans, maybe have like a predator like glow in the dark like paint splattered on or something.
How do I put it? Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming. So the mats with more realistic things are definitely coming. They're on a more cinematic level. Yes.
Everybody's loving it. Canuck, they look amazing. Grass is perfect for mythic horses.
Oh, it looks good.
Oh, so that means we're probably going to have some that have like hoof markings and stuff in it.
Well, it's fun. Like when we did the spirit loadout, that kind of scout loadout, we put him on, that mythically. I think it was the I can't remember which horse.
The brown horse.
The brown one, yeah. And man, the look on a mat with that horse and spirit hanging there with the crossbow, and it was awesome, man. It got a lot of attention for sure.
Yeah, this is it's great. It's great. These are I lost for words of how awesome these things look.
Thank you, man. Yeah, it's nice because you can put a simple backdrop behind it and you're done. Get your environment without a lot of work and be able to enjoy it.
Then we got ourselves a Arsenal gun wall with a gun cage. Since we're done with the mats, Cutthroat did mention, will you be coming out with the desert or sandy mat as well?
Yes, we're working on, in fact, that and an Arctic mat also.
Okay,
cool.
With all that coming,
man, you're just gonna have. I'll have to have like a whole area of like, all right, this is my winter theme. This is gonna have the snow serpents and my Arctic military figures here. I need a jungle theme. Oh man!
Well, I'll tell you, man. It's funny being in the diorama business for so long, and in toy soldiers. You got to think a bunch of figures, running around doing something, and they're either taking over a building or doing something like that. We have absolutely taken the same concept to this 1/12 level. It's trying to give everybody a chance to put a couple figures on a mat with maybe a small vehicle or a structure of some kind, and just you got a scene, you got a scenario, without having to glue down static grass and all that stuff.
But are we going to, because you had the mini gun or the gun on the grass, are we going to be seeing a bunker where it has like the cutout and then the gun and like the grass is on top of it and stuff like that?
You could very well see that, because we did that in the 1/32 scale like 15, 16 years ago. So I wouldn't doubt we would get to that point again, especially with all the bunker type items we're doing.
Well, especially with like the monster, what they call Monster Force or whatever.
Monster Force, yep.
They're since they're sort of like that era, you need some
Oh,
bunkers
yeah.
for those guys.
Yeah, and especially with how we do the wall sections, it wouldn't be very difficult for us to just include a grass wall section, that you would use as a roof or a whatever.
And and see, Judd, I think this would be work perfect for you because you do have a big drawer of accessories, Judd, that you say you need places to go. We got these little wall mounts here that you can start getting them.
All right, look, I already have a list that I'm ordering that I need for a display I'm putting together, and I'm slowly but surely putting money aside.
Nice.
It's in my budget.
Nice. It's going to a good home.
Yeah, this is my budget.
Yeah, this locker we put a lot into this to try to get it as versatile as we could. Like we put those holes inside the cage so you could put like a taller sniper rifle and still have it feel kind of like a workbench, that would be legitimate, The pistol rack is awesome because you can stack a bunch of pistols in there. And it still has room to put a 50 cal ammo box and all that stuff. And then our brackets for the slide wall, they can move, so you can really customize that display on how the rifles sit on it.
And then the helmet stands you can get too.
Exactly. So if you wanted to put a rack of helmets at the top, because we have a lot of guys at this point that have a lot of helmets sitting around. We do a good batch of those. So, but Quade did a good job getting that top texture or that workbench feel. In person, the thing feels very miniaturized, which is cool.
Yeah, and all those dirty hand collectors getting their dirty skin wedged into those cracks and crevices and stuff like that. Then make sure you guys wash your hands so you don't get your dead skin cells crammed into these cracks.
Exactly.
But no, I mean it looks good. And all these, and obviously all this stuff that's advertised is stuff that you've made, right?
Yeah,
pretty much.
I mean, I think we make everything in there. Yep.
For everybody that wants maybe some police officers or FBI or Cobra.
Yep. Yeah, it just creates it's another one of those things that we felt like it was something that's needed because it creates that scene again. We like to kind of have one piece. So let's say you don't have a big budget for this. You could get one piece, put a bunch of your figures around it, and all of a sudden there's if you want a paper backdrop, you could have a scene without having to build out a huge room, but there's modularity in there to where if you do have the budget, man, the arsenal room or locker room you could put together is crazy, like a gun room.
Now, Canuck makes a point, needs something for those of us who have huge hands or fat fingers or whatever. How easy is it to mess around with this stuff? Is it? I mean, you're like, I got this big hand too.
I mean, I'm always been a 280 guy, 270. So man, I got some fingers, man. Yeah, when I look at this stuff, and it's funny. We have removable mags, so that's usually like the hardest part. But our mags are scaled, so they're not some little, weak little tiny mag that's going in your gun. I mean, if it's an AR, that's an AR mag scaled to that AR. So you can get the sense that that's a pretty good chunk of resin, getting it in and out, not bad. Maybe some of the little 9mm stick mags, those are a little harder. But like on these racks, the brackets are mag brackets. So basically the gun is sitting on the mag well, and then you can slide the gun back and forth.
Okay.
And then the mag is just removed.
And you can, when you order them, you can choose which mag you want too, right?
Exactly.
I saw
that's a great point. Yes. That was something we had to think through because, you can make kind of a generic post, but every gun would tilt or we wanted to have it where you put that gun on and the gun was straight, and that was probably the biggest thing we saw in the competition. Even the because most of this, there's not a lot of competition here in the States for this kind of product, but overseas, man, they have a lot of companies that make a lot of weapons, kind of, brackety kind of stuff, but they're usually really out of scale to 1/12. And we wanted to make sure that we had a distinct mag.
Good call out, I did skip over this one. I went through that quick.
The import stuff is what they consider to be true 1/12.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Which is like slightly smaller, but you're right, because I got a gun rack like model kit kind of thing, and it was way too small for anything I was trying to put on it.
Yeah, probably a little armory or one of those.
Yeah, that was what it was, little armory.
And they're super detailed. Like, man, they're done really well. But yeah, we do have kind of I think, man, I think the US, man, just like everything else, we like it supersized a little.
Yeah.
So I know our 112, man, it's got some heft to it. And even in our guns, like we noticed that if we target everything to Joe hands, like classified hands, we're usually pretty good across the board.
Yeah.
If you can't take we get a lot of comments for DC stuff, right, with their gun ban and all that. And everybody wants to put a gun in Batman's hand, or Red Hood, or
ginormous,
and they're just huge. But the funny part is they're huge with small hands, so it's this weird proportionate kind of thing. And so for us with Joe classified, it's perfect. And then we just find that and they got mitts on them. I don't know if you've noticed, but GI Joe has got some mitts. Like the hands are a little big for scale, but they hold the weapons. They work really good with our stuff. So
now, and then with your gear, so like, since you're looking into, I guess, like the Monster Force stuff, like, you think your gear, like your web gears and stuff like that, are going to work with those figures too? Like pretty much figures in 1/12 scale?
Oh yeah, I know that Monster Force is it's GI Joe classified scale. They're so they cross over exact, and I mean, we know firsthand. We've had the models.
Nice. Scuba set that everybody's been sort of oohing on about.
Now we just had, so the funny part is this is the old version now. So this is the first loadout that we actually took a second look at. We released it, and then we were like, you know what, let's fix these couple things that were kind of bugging me. And we re-released it, and we basically just the cool part was we added a new, I don't know if you guys saw, we have that new spear gun. It's an MP5 with a spear gun underneath.
Yeah.
Super cool. And it was a perfect kind of like eel or torpedo kind of gun. And so we're like, you know what, we want to include that spear gun in this set. And so we kind of changed. The big change that happened in here is we took the hose that used to be removable around his neck, and we sculpted that detail into the vest. The nice part about that is now it sits and waits. It has some weight to it behind his neck, and it doesn't want to, you don't have to worry about extending it or any of that stuff, because you wouldn't use it as a regulator. And we've had this question too. I'm glad we're talking about it. Some people ask, why is there an oxygen tank and a rebreather on the front? And to anybody that cares about all that spec ops stuff, the rebreather on the front, we consider this to be an ultimate frogman. So like if Torpedo was coming in on a mission to destroy a bridge, the tank, his back tank, would carry the majority of his oxygen. As he got closer, you use a rebreather to have no bubbles. So, all those bubbles stay internalized, so you don't relieve your position. So the rebreather would be something you would turn on, and we have a valve now on the side that makes it feel like he would just crank that, and then he'd go to his rebreather. So that's the thought. I know we think way too much about this crap, but that's what we do. That's Gridiron, man. That's our brainstorming meetings every day. Is what other stupid valve can we put on something that makes sense to us?
I mean, plus, what if he's picking, like, rescuing somebody too?
Exactly. Yeah, he has extra oxygen. Yeah. Yep. Well, and the mask on this was really the cool change. is we went with this nods, night vision setup. So it has this cool bracket around the, and people ask, we don't do clear lenses. We just leave no lens. So then photography is very clear. You don't worry about any obstructed plastic or blurriness.
Those eel goggles.
Exactly, right. You run into that problem because you just can't get something that's that clear. And so we kind of, worked it this way.
I think the newer loadout, I think, is later on. I think I stuck it in at the end.
Oh, sweet. Okay. So they'll get to see it. Yeah, the new version is cool, man. It just has I feel a lot better about it. And that's why we did it, man. Just so I could sleep at night.
Yeah, I think it's in there.
So we got a Arctic Snow Ghillie sniper loadout.
That's right. Yep. And we try to, these are to us, ghillie suits are another spec mission kind of thing. So we want to try to make them look as realistic as possible. We want them to have weight. To us we don't want something to just look like a big furry thing. We want it to have some weight and have some drape. And so that's why we use the materials we use. It feels like there's weight on that figure.
It looks like it too. It's not looking like troll hair just going straight up.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the whole premise behind it, is how do we just, so we've done two. We've done this Arctic one and we did a woodland one, and both have been received very well. I mean, there's great compliments to our line, and we try to just do them as good as we can. So
then we got EBR and a thumper.
Yeah, it's our little jungle loadout. A little bit of a Recondo-ish feel,
All right. So here's all right. I think, and I don't know if this is still the case. So your backpacks you do amazing work on. Like one that grabbed my eye when you did it, you had like the one that has like the radio, the little you got all those details in the radio set and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now these are they still attached by adhesives, like a two-sided tape?
No, the only time we use that, I don't even think it right now. We don't have any. I don't think we have any active pack that uses it. We're all pegged now.
Okay.
We really were very slow going trying to convert to that because number one, G.I. Joe's notorious. This classified line is notorious for having a million different configurations for that hole. They're just different diameters, different lengths, different, So when you're talking about a company that makes universal parts, I can't make a peg that only fits Stalker. I have to make a peg that fits Recondo. And, so some people don't understand that. They just think, oh, it's easy. I have a peg and it's all universal. But if you really take a good look at how they've done the classified this time around, unlike when we were kids, it's so particular to the figure. So we either try to keep a backpack that's like Recondo. We just want to make sure that peg definitely fits him. We can't promise every peg, but you can grind off a little bit, cut it back. You could be creative with how you put this on.
Better to have too much peg than not enough.
Yeah, exactly. And so for us, what's funny though, man, I appreciated the 3M mounting tape because I felt like when I'm setting up the figures, I can have that backpack sit exactly how I want. I'm not somebody that's in a sandbox taking my toys off and on and converting. I'm just putting it together how I want and I'm putting it on a shelf. So I think, for that matter, it made sense to me that the 3M works, but I get it, man. We wanted to make everybody happy. We wanted to work towards what everybody's wanting. The other thing is, let's say you want to put that backpack on a Stormtrooper. If you have a peg on there, I don't have that market anymore. Yeah. So there is those things that you got to think about as a business,
But it also shows the evolution too of it too. Like you had to start somewhere, and then now you can do the peg system. So,
and we could have done it in the beginning. The only, you got the other worry is we're dealing with resins and not injection molded plastics. So don't want to get resin broken off inside the back pegs. I don't want to get into any of that. So I was like, I won't come out with a peg unless I feel confident in it. And we finally had gotten to this perfect kind of mix that we've been using now solid for a long time. And the pegs are awesome. They work good. We have action figure stands. And so, to think, those pegs have to be durable enough.
Right.
And we sell just hundreds and hundreds of those things. So
you sounded defeated when you're talking about like the breaking in the back. How many figures did you test that you had to break, that you had to get plastic on the back to find the perfect durability?
Yeah, the funny part is I think I remember one breaking. It never got stuck, but I think I was so worried about it all the time, so I was very leery. So if I felt like it wasn't going to make it, but it didn't take much. Once we had it, we had the material, we knew we were durable enough. It was good.
Yeah, and that's another thing too, is like each collector handles their action figures differently.
That's the truth. Yes.
You got some people that just manhandle them, like grabbing, start cranking and twisting, and you're like, what are you doing? And then you got some that are like, more gentle, because the first thing they do, they get like a Mythic Legion. Oh, it broke.
Oh,
did you read the instructions? Did you heat it up? Did you feel the resistance? Like for me, like I've had some breakage with some Hasbro stuff, but that's more of like I got that Mojo figure, right? And the bicep, I was moving it around and it felt like it was moving and it felt tight, but I didn't know what it was. But it was because it was that gummy, like soft plastic, and ended up just twisting it off.
That's right. Yeah.
But I never force any figure joints. If I feel it stuck, I'm like, okay, cool. Hair dryer, simple, 30 seconds. I don't have to put it in hot water, nothing. It's just a simple hair dryer. Work it a little bit,
That's right. And that works across the board with accessories and figures. So yeah, it's a good thing to know.
Well, Judd can say, Judd, remember those Star Wars figures that you picked up for me?
Oh God.
he picked up. I was working. He ended up snagging. They were the what was it? The Black Series.
It was. Weren't they from the video game? But it was they were May the 4th figures.
Yeah, they were the white box, like the first ones that they had, and he sent them. He made sure they were packaged right and everything, but my mail people just smashed it or did something to where all the lightsabers were just bent, L-shaped. Oh. And so I had to sit there and like work it, heating them up and straighten them back out. It's just like stuff happens, Shouldn't, but it happens, and it wasn't Judd's fault. It's just mail people just don't care. But yeah, heating stuff up. I didn't flip out or anything, and Judd, you were upset. You were mad.
I was madder than you were.
I was like, no big deal, man. I'll just heat it up. And I fixed them and straightened them back out.
I was madder than you were. They weren't even my figures.
And then Canuck with the super chat. Now that I'm back inside, I can send this. Gridiron, your products are amazing. Need to get me some of those kits. Art so close to 4K. Let's get it done. Judd, glad we had got some common sense in here. Whatever. We got Mr. Wonderful a little late. What's up, man? And then we got MacMan in the chat too. What is up, Kevin? Yeah, this now here with this set right here, Mark. Yep. Are the grenades removable?
They are not. They are molded in. Yeah, so these are all like part of the design. So there's a lot of removable stuff here. You got a camo net, you got a radio, you got a mag pouch with a removable mag. You got there's a gun rack on the one side that fits both guns. Yeah, it's a pretty modular piece. There's a lot of stuff going on. Oh, and there's a bipod in there that snaps in as well. That comes off.
Because you do realize there is a figure that Hasbro released that some people are getting in different countries, hasn't hit the stateside. But our Big Ben didn't come with his little pouch first with his grenades.
Yeah, totally, man. We have something planned for some of that.
I still don't understand why they kept his neck bare. I'm wearing a gas mask, but left my skin out to let the chemicals hit it.
Totally. Yeah, this grenade launcher is awesome, man. We got this little grenade that slips in the barrel. It's pretty cool.
What is Air Recon?
Oh yeah, that's the throwback, right? To Stardust and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's my brain went to. First thing I was like, what? Duke looking so happy with that. And see, and this is stuff again. This is what this medic thing. I keep telling everybody. I was like, back in the Pursuit of Cobra era was like some of the best 3 3/4 Joes you could ever get.
Absolutely.
Their lifeline came with like the stretcher, the IV bags, all that stuff.
That low light was crazy.
That low light was, yeah, it was. And then you had that one little bullet that everybody lost because
Totally.
But that low light, like that whole wave of figures was impressive, and that's where I call it the man babies of Joe's, sort of like it's like a love hate with the classified series. It's like I hate it because they were man babies and they got the change, but the change was good with the classified line. But we have the fear now: are we gonna see that Pursuit of Cobra stuff be more like subdued because of the people complaining they don't like that uniqueness, or will we see maybe a Moneybags Destro or something? That's what I'm, hoping for. Like some of those designs weren't your typical classic Joe designs.
That's right. Yeah, this set was a monster. This thing we threw everything in the kitchen sink at this set.
Yeah, this one's incredible. Just the amount of detail in everything. The blood bags, the computer, it's impressive.
Yeah, those little IV bags and stuff. Yeah, we had, and then we gave them a belt with an actual little pouch for them to go. So it was a cool set.
And then you know who that's for.
We had to do sunglasses, right? That was a specific. And those things are tiny, so it's they're all very intricate in their own way. All the different parts,
Yeah, and the elastic strap and everything looks again stuff that nobody else is doing it.
Well, we're excited because I think even if the figure's not out, we're able to kind of produce a set that even down the road people will replace or upgrade their figure with this stuff. We've seen that over and over again as figures kind of come out and get released. Like that litter that he's on, that stretcher, that thing is so intricate underneath. I mean, there's feet, there's literally separate bracketed pieces that the rails get shoved through. I mean, it's crazy.
You got a nice little dreadnought or just flamethrower effect or set.
Yeah, this was a cool little kind of a Road Warrior-ish kind of exterminator feel, right? From the old days.
Looks good on Zartan too.
Yeah. And that blast effect turned out really nice. Like to have something that we wanted to have a big flame, but you got to really wait. It's going to have a lot of weight to it. They're hollow, so light kind of shines through it, which is what makes it cool and translucent. But to have something that hooked to the gun and the figure could still stand up by having that thing mounted to the ground, just kind of made a cool look to it.
Well, it's nice that it's mounted to the ground. So therefore, some of these companies out there will put a piece in it. It's floating. And then over time on the shelves, it just starts going.
Exactly. Yeah. This almost acts like a stand for the figure. It's pretty cool.
Got some night ops.
Yeah.
That radio.
I love these loadouts.
Is insane. Like your little hand radios have so much detail to them.
Yeah.
And you can definitely see all the figures used. You're like, I can see your customers are primarily, your Joe fans.
Yeah, we literally only use a couple lines in our photography. I mean, we refuse to use certain lines for good reason, but these are G.I. Joe, Mythic Legions. I mean, the Four Horsemen these guys are awesome guys. I mean, they've been in the industry for so long, and they just keep their head down and do the work. And that's who we are, man. And so we stick with the right stuff. Everybody gives us a hard time if we don't take pictures with certain brands. And I'm like, there's no reason for us. We know you can use our stuff with really almost any 1/12 scale line, but I'm not going to promote anybody that I don't appreciate what they're doing, you know?
Yeah. And then plus, I mean, you guys are crazy busy to where you're pumping out stuff like you're pumping out new stuff a lot for what you guys do. Like I was really surprised of like, okay, you have the cigars, and then you just follow up and it just keeps going. And I'm like,
Yeah.
they're not slowing down.
But no, man, it's been 2.5 years straight now, and we have a release almost every Friday, if not something in between. And then any of the promotional weekends, there'll be 3 or 4 items. So yeah, it's been a lot of stuff.
I love the rifle stands. I love the AKs.
Yeah, I do too, man. Those are all what kind of makes it fun for me. Like I think of those things as, you know, you put some troops by a rack like that, and all of a sudden you got a story, right? They're at their freaking, you know, the water thing, you know.
Yeah, the water cooler, like chit chat, and they're like, "Oh man, we're using these AKs again." Well, you know, last time I dropped it. Yeah, like it's
exactly. Yeah, it's a little story without having to do too much, you know.
And then these,
you
guys, your radios and your electronics are ridiculous.
Oh man, Quade's good at this stuff, man. He's, you know, you got to think the guy has a master's degree in industrial design, and his modeling goes so far back. It's just very intricate. You know, he is an excellent hard edge modeler. I mean, yeah, I can throw anything at him that has metal or plastic in it, and it'll come out like this every time. It just is crazy what he does.
Now,
so we're very grateful to have him for that stuff for sure.
Who does the painting?
We all kind of share responsibilities. We have a guy that in the shop that paints, but we have Colin he's really the director of production, so he kind of makes sure of all that. I'm more on the creative end of like, what color do we use? How does the thing look? How does it affect the nostalgic part of the collection? That's all my R&D is. How do we get the product to be the finished look?
Yeah, it's lots of details. The attention to detail is just wild.
It's everything to us.
Then of course you have to have the different colors, which makes sense.
Yep.
And then what we got ourselves in, so for all you indie fans out there, just people that need maps.
And there's a lot of them. I mean, the indie fan base, when those figures came out, oh my gosh. I mean, they went nuts on the cigars. We did the holster set, and then we did these maps, and man, it was crazy.
What are the maps made out of?
Why would I tell you that?
Oh, why would you tell me that? I was like, okay.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, it's not. Is it?
It's no secret, man. They're freaking paper maps, but they're
I wasn't sure if it was fabric.
No, that's the interesting part in what kind of paper we use.
Okay. Yeah, you don't have to tell me the exact paper, but no. I thought it could have been fabric. That's why I was like, is this paper? Is this fabric? And then I'm like, you're like, why would I tell you? I'm like, wait, you told me in this? No,
this is all it's funny because, I've been doing this for, like I said, with dioramas for over 20 years. So we used to make maps and signs and all that stuff. So there's cool little tricks to making things look real that aren't real. And we just apply that to this. And they end up looking really aged and cool, and they have some flexibility to it. They don't, so it's the process in which we make stuff is the secret, but it's a paper map. It's just how we produce it is what makes it different.
Okay, nice. Yeah,
I think
sharing your secrets.
I think those maps will work for more than indie too.
Yeah,
totally.
Like you want a map on a table just to look like a map, like a military scene, and they're looking at a specific area to attack or whatever. Like, you're not going to be in there like really looking at the map. The idea is it looks like a map. I think those work for everything. Yeah,
we have another set coming. I can tell you this: we do have another set of maps coming that's more modern, which is going to be cool. There's a cool piece in there that I think everybody's going to like.
Cobra Island.
You never know.
I'm like, doing those jabs like Cobra Island, maybe, huh? What? But yeah, you guys definitely adapt, which is really nice. Like Indiana Jones figure coming. Let's pump out some Indiana Jones stuff.
Yeah, we had a ton
Makes
of people
sense.
asking about it, and we're like, I'd been wanting to do like a little pile of snakes or something for a long time, and torches. Like we talked about. I'm also a Mythic Legions guy, so torches make sense for me as a collector. I love it with my Mythic stuff. So I was like, man, if we do some cool torches and sculpt some cool flames, and these were a cool kind of vertical, flame, so we could plug in on the side, and then you could have that scene where Indy's like laying down the torches with the snakes. Hasbro didn't do that, so we're like, why don't we do it?
You could just buy a bunch of these and make that scene from that Dragnet movie with Tom Hanks and
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Was it Dan Aykroyd and Tom Hanks, right? Yeah. But no, these looks great, and that is another thing too. Why haven't we gotten torches with Mythic Legions? Like, why haven't they made torches?
Because they don't have to.
They don't have to.
They don't have to. Yeah, exactly.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, these look good. And showing off that grass mat again.
Yep. When they take to the light, man, the resin we use, the translucent resin we use, this particular mix creates this really cool, like, you can see it. I mean, we're not sticking a light under there. It's just kind of shining through, and it just creates this really cool look.
And for everybody knows, what is that percentage of the mix? No, I'm joking.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
That's funny.
What's that mix of the resin?
Yeah, everybody with their notebooks out. Weapon blade and sheath, nice. Nice silver.
Yeah, these are some of our early products. We still these are, if you're new to our catalog, our website, we try to leave on as many things as we can. We're not a retiring kind of company. I mean, to us, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, we want to be able to make stuff forever. So when I did Build-A-Rama, we had 500 products, and we cataloged for 20 years. So we had with a 20-year gap in there. If we expect Gridiron to be around that long, 20 years from now, I need to be able to offer something to somebody that, I shouldn't have to make another machine gun that looks just like the one we made 20 years ago. So we just make the best we can.
Paul, you said those maps are actually made of human skin.
Nice.
Yeah, when I was putting the pictures together, I kept waiting to see stuff that said out of stock. You know what I mean? And I'm like,
yeah.
Hey, well, I just can't find anything that's out of stock. And I'm like, well, I'll just keep adding stuff because art add anything you think is cool. I'm like, bro, I can add this whole
Right
website.
here. This right here.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. Yep. Everybody needs cigars. Go get them. Go get the cigars.
They're really fun, man. They just add that little. I mean, whether you you can see Indy just sitting there with his head cocked, and it's like all of a sudden that figure just takes on some life. It's really a weird prop,
And then again, all of these are individual.
Those ones are stacked. Yeah, they're part of the box.
Oh, that's part of the box. These two come out then.
These two come out, and then you have some loose ones. But the actual texture in which that wrap, those leaf wraps are, it's crazy how good that pulled out. So when you put one of these in your little figure's hands, man, it's crazy how real it feels. It's pretty cool.
Oh, here's a question. Canuck says, do you upgrade the old products? Like, do you do any tweaks to the designs or anything like that?
So the only time, that's a great question, because the only time we ever feel a need to retire anything is if we're going to upgrade it. So for example, like we've retired a couple of the AK-47 models because they were just older. They were our first when we first came out. And we have since retired, and we are now filling those gaps. So we did a bunch of AKs over the weekend, and we will be coming out with the things that fill in those spots. So you never have to worry. Like, the big thing that drives me nuts as a toy collector, and I don't know if this hits you guys, but I cannot stand when I haven't been able to be on top of every single website, every single social media, I got a job to do. I know a lot of us work, so I hate when I go to a site and they're like, oh yeah, it sold out in 5 seconds and you'll never see it again. It doesn't seem to be a realistic model to me. Like, it seems like you would do a lot better just having a little more product,
Right.
Instead of creating this urgency and this flow that has to be constant, just make a little extra for the guy that missed out that night.
Or there's some people that just are not aware. The awareness out there. It's like if you're not in that in the know,
right.
you're gonna be like, oh, that I didn't know this existed. Or you go to a friend's house and you see their collection, you're like, well, where'd you get this? Oh yeah, I got it from.
Well, yeah, and I think the biggest problem I have is that if you have a so let's say, well, like what's been your guys' like big pre-order that you got that sold out real quick? What's one of those moments for you guys
that I wanted to get and it sold out, or
that I got or I missed
that you got, like that you got a hold of?
I mean,
actually, mine was probably the Mattel Creations exclusive Scare Glow from Masterverse.
Okay, good.
That one sold out within seconds, and I was lucky enough to get one.
Totally, and I'm a Motu fan, so I missed that altogether. I just wasn't even aware, and I think for me it's just frustrating because imagine 5 years from now. So now all we're doing is building into this speculation that, man, we're only buying stuff so that it's worth something more down the road. It's just not toys to me. Like I get it,
Yeah, you're like I am. You're like I am. I can't. I do not like the people that only collect for the monetary value. Like just because Star Wars figures from when we were kids ended up being worth lots of money does not mean anything. That this $20 figure you're buying today, you're going to be able to retire off of in 30 years. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. Yeah.
But
you're right on.
You're going to be stuck there with totes full of figures that you didn't enjoy because they're going to be worth something. They're worth millions of dollars. I'm going to be able to go to Aruba. I'm going to retire in Aruba.
Your wife will just be hawking that crap for like pennies on the dollar. And you will, and you enjoy it
the whole time, just cussing you the whole time, like, oh, this is what he left me, all this garbage that I can only get $3 for. Thanks, hon.
Totally. And I feel like there's like, so for me, I was like, I want people to come to the site 10 years from now, 12 years from now, and say, oh man, okay, I can still get an AK sniper rifle or an AR sniper rifle if I only made enough. There's only so many sniper rifles I can make. So if I just make 1,000 of them and that's it, they're gone. What happens down the road? So it just didn't have longevity for us. It's not our business model for sure.
And with people that do collect, and it's if they're looking for, you can't even say like monetary, but like I like Mythic Legions. I like what Four Horsemen does. Their products to me, I think, are great. Do they, people try to nitpick their articulation, but I'm like, it's a guy in armor. What do you expect him to be Spider-Man posing? And if you think about how they do it, and I totally lost my train of thought of what else because I got stuck on a
they're a total piece of art.
But they're all right. So they're works of art, and you can see with their figures, like their value it goes up, but it's not because they're hard to get a hold of or anything like that. It's like their model is one of the better models in my opinion. They open it up and it's open for so long, and you have that time to get the figure, and then you're not sitting there. You may have to wait.
Yeah.
They
have the best pre-order system ever. I mean, it's crazy.
A company should follow, but like, and it's not like, and again, with the Mythic stuff, they're good products. People want them. And so they retain their value, but, and then even when they do the All-Stars, they bring out some of the popular ones to help, the people that don't get, stuck with eBay prices and stuff.
That's what I like about them. And being someone who's just literally getting into Mythic Legions, like for instance, I got this from the All-Star Wave because I ordered what's his face from the Poxus Wave. The two brothers split.
They form into one
out of that demon, and so now I gotta wait and hope that they do another All-Star Wave and put out the blue one.
Totally. Yeah, they're so good, man. I can't say enough good stuff about them. They're a great business. They're a great group of guys. So
I think even if you miss out on the pre-orders though too, like you can still get them at other retailers. You're just paying a little more for them. Like exactly. That's the whole nice thing about the pre-orders is you get, it's almost like an early bird special sort of. Like you get it on a pre-order through Mythics and you're going to get them for $15-20 less than if you wait until they're released.
It's basically you're getting them at cost,
at
cost.
You're
getting it at cost, and then what you see on Big Bad and all these other Empire Toy Shop and all that stuff. That's hella dope toys. That's what the retail is.
Yeah, exactly. It's getting a discount for being part of their fan base. I mean, it's just a great throwback. Yeah, it's awesome.
The Happy Accident, thank you for coming in here. He says he knows several who collect for monetary value. Me, I'm all about the toy design and play. And then he says, I'm holding that cigar set in my hands now. It's one of my recent Gridiron Studios purchases. Love the light up campfire.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, man. Thanks. Awesome.
Paul saying, collect what you like and how you like. But if you're an inbox, I would say try and open some of it because there might be some enjoyment you're missing. And that's true.
Yeah, it's true. Oh, and man, that's the hard thing is like there's a lot of my collection that's in box. I mean, I enjoy sometimes just the packaging of something, and if I enjoy the packaging, I'll get a second one, right?
Like,
yeah, exactly.
I think we all have stuff that we keep on card.
Yeah, I have a bunch of my 25th anniversary Joes and Pursuit of Cobra on card.
Oh yeah,
and yeah, I mean, it's like you can present some of that stuff on the walls, on shelves. Like even though I do bust Super 7, balls a little bit for their pricing and stuff like that. But their packaging is great for inbox collectors. That's stuff that you can just set up on a shelf and it looks amazing.
Well, because those cards, right? The cards they're like almost the whole product. Because if you're not into a retro 5-point articulation, the nostalgia is coming from that card and just having a figure sitting there. So I appreciate that stuff because Star Wars for one, man, I'm always trying to find my retro stuff. Oh, I know, man. I mean,
like, that's
you got some retro Joes behind you.
Well, like this guy,
yeah.
And so this is. I mean, when I think of like a card, for me, like these are the things that I love to collect vintage carded Star Wars, like and keep them that way, obviously. But I'll have 10 stormtroopers.
Is that a vintage beachhead up there too?
It is, yeah, man. This is little fun.
Yeah, see that artwork on those cards back then as a kid, like it was awesome.
You get something like this and open it and throw out the box, like.
Yeah, because you don't have to worry about that, right? That's something you can enjoy.
Unless I'm going to display it like this.
Yeah.
And show the art, like I don't know. To me, I'm just gonna open it and enjoy the figure and throw the packaging away because
I mean, no point. That being said, man, I really enjoy like when they did like the retro lines, right? Where you have I'll keep those on card, at least some of them that I like Trap Jaw is one of my favorites, right? And but I'll open one. I'll try to get one that I can pose next to it.
The rock and stock method. One to rock, one to stock.
That's it. But it never, in my mind, it never comes down to like, oh man, I'm gonna save that one because that's gonna be worth something. It's more like, do I really want to just enjoy it in a card? I'm taking that to the grave anyway. Can I enjoy it as a retro thing?
Yep,
makes sense. But yeah, so we got to the end of the slides. Judd was worried that we were going to be here for 15 years because I am a slow clicker when it comes to slides.
And I just kept adding stuff.
You have a lot of stuff. You have a lot of product to everybody that wants to see what Gridiron is all about. All their information is down below. Their YouTube, their Instagram, their website, all of it is down there. It was ready for you guys when I posted up the queue for this live stream. So you guys hopefully checked it out. And yeah, Mark, where else can people find you, man? What?
I mean, we're just Instagram's probably the best. I mean, we have our Instagram. It's on our card. I'm sure you got that stuff in there, but Gridiron. It's like we have a Gridiron Studios and a Gridiron Studios. We have 2 Instagram accounts, and this is kind of interesting because when we first came on, I guess Instagram didn't like guns or didn't like what we were doing with guns, and so. But we ended up appealing it, and it came back and all that. But in that meantime, we just started a new one, and so we just kept them both going. And so that way we had, they almost did us a favor.
There you go.
And then so we have 2 of them. So it depends. I have people on both, but we list everything on both. So if you get one, you don't have to worry about But that's our best. We do all of our press release on Instagram. That links to our Facebook account. And then on our website at Gridiron. So our website is www.gridironstudios or gridironprops.com, www.gridironprops.com. And
Nice.
yeah, man, that's it.
And Cutthroat was saying that Sweet the Medic loadout is cool. Now Gridiron Studio needs to make a net or a straight jacket. Oh, for the Canuck, but a straight jacket would be cool.
That would be cool. Yeah, I'd like to do that. That'd be sweet.
And Judd, Canuck says Froggy it looks older after the show art. Don't know if he has many shows left at his age. Let's see if we got any other questions.
I get all the love.
And if you guys have questions for Mark, comment down below. Now is the time to ask some questions before you let the man free. We've had him held hostage for an hour and 47 minutes.
Oh, it's all good. It's been fun, you guys.
Yeah, definitely. I love the going through that stuff, and then I got sort of in my jaw hit the floor when I saw those grass mats. Man, they're amazing looking.
And I really do have a list.
Cutthroat has. I have 3 of these gun racks. And Canuck saying thank you for coming on. We need you to come on again in the future.
Oh man, I'm here anytime you guys need me. We'll do it.
So, but all right, since it doesn't seem like any. Oh wait, here's a question.
It's always as soon as you're like, well, somebody has anything to ask.
Mark, is the Gridiron chair going to be continued to be sold, or will it be removed soon?
It's a limited item, but our intention was the gold one is very limited, but we're the same thing. I'm not into that game of you only had one shot at this. The way we're doing it in batch. So we'll have. I usually like to try to get everybody that wanted something a chance to get it. Now, that doesn't mean we can kind of continue to make hundreds of them and sit on them, but the regular mainstream throne, the painted one, we'll probably have that around for a long time. We want that to be part of anybody that comes into Gridiron can enjoy that throne. Now, the gold one, we wanted to make an exclusive one that was a little more rare for the collectors. And we'll probably have another batch of those. They're sold out right now, but we'll probably have another batch. I would probably say somewhere in October, probably.
I don't know what happened to watch. I'm going to go through my photos, and it's sitting in my photos. I could have sworn I added that throne.
Well, we did talk about the throne.
I bet we
always have Gridiron stuff in our normal state of the art.
Yeah.
We did talk about the throne. We did talk about the cigars and stuff.
Oh,
before.
so you know what? That's what it was. I put it in the regular slides, but never transferred it over to this one.
But it also gives our the viewers go check out the website to see this stuff. Follow them on Instagram.
It's there.
Action Fig says he's also 50. You're only old as you act. Canuck is 53. So
that's right. I mean, we all come from the same place, man. I mean, I think our hearts are in this because it lasted, right? And which, by the way, I can say one thing. The thing we've noticed, I was talking to a friend about this, is that this sector of our life, like this place we're all in, we all have this kind of fraternity going on because we all kind of understand each other. We understand why we're here. We understand this is a unique place for us. We're a small niche in the whole world, but yet we all have such a passion for this thing. And there's no room for any other shenanigans. There's no room for, hatred or anger or any. I don't got time for any of that stuff because this is the happy place. the outside world is cruel, man. I want to come into this world. I want to enjoy it. So,
yeah. And then I guess Cutthroat saying, don't forget the free guns you can get with the purchase on those free days.
Yes.
Oh yeah, he runs. They run promotions all the time.
Yeah,
it's on the weekends, right? Like it'll be like a weekend promotion.
Yeah, they're random. So and we try to keep that randomness so everybody doesn't get too caught up in it. But we try to make it something fun and I spend a lot of time trying to make that event fun. I want it to be something where when you come on a Friday and you hear Gridiron's got a promotion going, they're always themed. They always have some kind of little quirky thing to it that's kind of a retro. And I want people to feel like it, we run the deal where you can anything, if you make any purchase on any day of the 4-day event, you get a free item.
That's pretty cool.
So I have guys, that'll come in and buy, they only have a budget for a knife or a pistol that's maybe under $10 and then get a free gun. And then most of our guns have a $10 value. So it's like, I feel like there's a good entry point for a lot of guys. They'll get in, and if they were afraid to get us because we're more expensive, this is a chance for them to get a little bit. And our normal customer base, those guys are so supportive of us. It's nice to give them something back,
Yeah, that's sort of what I mean, it's not a full gun or anything, but like the company like Super Action Stuff does like those blood effects and foodies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you order something from them, he'll like toss in like one of the foodie items, like a hot dog or something in there as like just a little thank you. Like just toss it in there.
Yeah, and we've been doing this since the beginning. We did our very first promo, early on, and we just noticed, okay, this is where I think we can all enjoy what this is and get a little something extra,
That is awesome. And now, Paul Hughes. Mark, do you have any conventions appearances coming where we might see a booth?
We do. We have some very exciting news for 2024. We are going to be coming in. We're going to be doing Joe Fest. We're invited to do Joe Fest. And we have a lot of excited customers, that are going to meet us there. We're really excited for the meetup. And I think we'll be doing a panel as well. That's what we've been told. So
nice.
We have that. And I think we're doing PowerCon also. We're in talks for that.
There we go. That's close to me. I'll be at PowerCon next year. I was there this year.
There you go. John will be my unboxing art state of the art representative when he goes.
Nice.
Canuck says, "Thank you, Mark. Appreciate what you do." And then he says, "Hearts are in this as well as our wallets."
Dude, that means everything to me because, like I said, this is a family thing to us. This isn't some game. This isn't it's a business. We need to make money. This is how we make our money. But it's very much so about the community, and it's really about toys. It's the love and passion for toys, man. Anything else, it just doesn't even fit into our world. Like we did not design this company for a bunch of politics and shenanigans. We wanted to just like we've done our whole life, we're going to put our head down and we're going to do the work. And we're hoping everybody appreciates it and enjoys it. That's all we can ask for.
We got Mr. Wonderful, the guy that is behind Hexastacks. He says, you guys are all resin building, right? Is there a reason you don't push 2 injection mold? How many people work at Gridiron Studio? As someone developing a product of my own, I'm curious. And you might have seen him on Instagram. He was on PowerCon. He does Hexastacks. They're stands and displays for your figure, trying to take it to the next level.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I being a small business guy my whole life, I can just kind of looking through your question there. I mean, we are a resin company. We do a lot of fabrication, but predominantly resin. And really, I can tell you safely that we are in a new era of manufacturing that we feel very fortunate to be on the cusp of it, where injection molding was always the question. If you didn't do injection molding, well, you couldn't possibly have a quality product. those days are way gone. I mean, that's absolutely thinking in the past. If you think that injection molding, just because it's cheaper, is a better product, that's a different story. What we can provide with resin and design, you would never, ever, ever be able to accomplish with injection molding. And how, if you look at companies like Hot Toys or very high-end premium toy companies, you'll see, like, you don't see them at, like, Mezco is a great example. Like, I believe Mezco makes a great product. I believe that there's a lot of passion behind the design, and you'll see how intricate some of their weapons are and all that. To get to that level of injection molding is tough. Now, to have weapons like ours that in a lot of ways will supersede detail because we don't have to worry about undercuts. We can have free floating barrels with, M-lock, setups on the furniture. We can have, chambers that you can see through that you would never be able to do. So it's just a different product. But as a business starting out, I would never have that shadow over your head anymore. Because I had that for years, that if you're not injection molding, well, then you must not be a real legit thing. And I think Gridiron's proving to a lot of this toy industry now that we're coming in as a toy manufacturer with resin and printing and making it happen and bringing a brand and a type of manufacturing to an industry that really didn't have it. Most of these guys were in a closet or in their garage printing on a machine and hoping, to have an unpainted product to kind of make it out. We're doing thousands of products all the time through this process. So I don't know. I've had some great talks, even with like guys at Sideshow and just the things that, for guys that are doing such awesome stuff, how far detached from 3D printing they are. So there's a void in here that we feel very fortunate to have. So
okay,
I think I answered all those questions, right?
Yeah, I think you did that plus. So, and the Happy Accident says back to work, the hobby piece, y'all. It was nice for you to swing on by, and I think that slowed down the. Yeah, Mr. Wonderful said it's totally unrelated to weapons, not a competition.
Totally.
I
get it.
Thank you very much for the feedback. I feel for what I'm doing, I need to be able to create some injection, but other products that will need to be resin for return of investment for sure. Thank you again.
Yeah. And it does, man. I wish you the most of luck too, man, because it's, if you ever have a question, you can always call me or send me a message, man. I'll help you out as best I can. And injection molding don't get me wrong. It has its place. We're never going to make a resin 3D or a resin 3D printed action figure. We may do something similar, but we'll never do a mass produced 3D figure. It just doesn't make sense. The joints are too, brittle, and there's a lot of playability that we can't get out of resin. So, but fixed models, we'll be doing it.
Awesome. Well, all right, everybody. That's going to be it. Seems you, and he said thank you again. He really appreciates it.
Awesome.
No problem. Glad you tuned in and got to ask him, because that's cool. That's what it's about, that's community. Right. But
that's exactly what it's about. Yeah.
But I do appreciate you, Mark, for coming on to the show, sort of letting us pick at everything and sort of like get to really know the ins and outs of like the business and where you came from, and that's awesome. And you make some really good products. And just like Judd, I have my list building up as well. And and I'm hoping everybody in the chat has been building their list in that. And again, I don't even think we hit half of what you make on your website. So
no,
you guys, because when I went to the website, I was just like, it's like that, being a kid at Toys R Us when you're looking up at the wall of figures,
We have 394 products. So
yeah. I had to stop at a certain point so that people would have a reason to go there and look. I could have very easily kept going.
Totally.
But as I tell you guys all the time, I appreciate you guys sticking through all these streams, and I appreciate all you guys that are subscribing, new and the old ones that have been sticking around. And it looks like we are officially 2 subscribers away from 4,000, from doing our 4,000 subscriber giveaway. So that's all you guys got to do. Judd, you might need to start reaching out to some siblings and everybody else that
I
don't
think
collect.
two, I think two of them were legitimately the wife and Matthew.
Well, there you go. Tell you need two more.
I mean, you heard me yell out
But
the door to tell them to sub. So
we got some really cool stuff. Hella Dope Toys is donating. Cox Create, Judd, myself have some stuff to give away. So it's going to be a fun giveaway for us to give back to you guys that have been supportive. And really that community, to me, that is one of the better communities because we're here to evolve and grow together, you know.
Absolutely.
And I want you all to make sure you go check out, Gridiron. All the stuff is down below. You guys know where to find me. I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and I'm also here on the YouTubes. And the Froggy Geezer is just sort of like my conscious. He's just on my shoulder all the time. So wherever I go, he will be there. And I want you guys to make sure that you guys have the best luck hunting. Keep on collecting and have a beautiful night.
later.